Hey! Welcome. It's BBB GameCast. We're back again. We're still here. We haven't been canceled yet, so that's good. Even though Scott almost showed his chonies last week. Still not canceled. Still not, and we're left wondering if he's got pants on right now. So
anybody want to take a bet? I'll give everybody out there a time to put your bets in. That time to play the game of pants or no pants.
Pants or no pants?
This is my favorite game that has ever happened.
Oh, is he gonna actually? I mean, I could always just put it. Oh, he's got pants
he's
on.
Wearing pants, and the internet has just realized, oh wait, were we anticipating seeing Scott in his underwear? Are we disappointed? Are we happy? Now that he's dancing and shaking his lack of butt, I am not happy. Definitely not. He doesn't have his headset on, so we're just making fun of him, and he doesn't know. Yeah, Scott has no idea what we just said right now.
It ain't no Sasquatch pose.
Oh, he said I had no butt. How dare you? I am very bootylicious.
Listen, that's one thing the Busting Balls have in common. None of us have a butt.
Lies.
None of us do.
Scott, don't deny it, man. Don't deny it.
None of us do.
If we want butts, we got to pull a Hank Hill, and we got to wear the butt.
Get those implants.
Yeah, the implant butt.
The silicone things he sits on.
So, yeah.
Wonderful.
Maybe that's what brought us together. Maybe that's why we get along so well.
Maybe it's like a genetic thing.
Yeah, we didn't even know, our butts were calling to each other. They're like, you don't have a butt, neither do I. And we didn't even know it.
No asses attract each other.
Ass traction.
I bet this is a science experiment that we could definitely get funded. I firmly believe that. But hey, we are connected via lack of butts. But one thing that the Busting Balls like to talk about, or at least want to talk about right now, Mike, I'll let you segue because I'm sure you got something good. What are we talking about today?
That was a good segue there. But you should have taken it the whole way.
I guess I should have.
You should have taken it. You take it the whole way today.
Fine, I'm taking it.
You earned it.
I earned it. I'm so glad that I can connect our lack of butts to video games. This pleases me to no end. Today, we're going to talk about our favorite co-op games. A little bit about the game, probably why we liked them so much, and just kind of chat with each other about it. And we each picked 2 games, and I'm just going to start it off with an honorable mention because we actually all talked about, do we want to keep this one? Because there's actually a good amount of games we want to talk about. And I think this is a good one to talk about because it's the most recent franchise that we collectively played together. So I won't spend a whole lot of time on this one, but that franchise is the Borderlands franchise. Borderlands, to me, is one of the best co-op games. I remember when Borderlands 1 came out, a friend of mine who actually listens to this podcast, Gooden, hello, I love you. I was at a friend's house and he was playing Borderlands one day. I was like, this looks amazing. And then I bought it. I'm like, this is great. And then I think Scott was over. He's like, that looks amazing. And then he bought it. So we played Borderlands individually. We played Borderlands together. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of angst and angry times based on some people playing with us and stealing loot from each other. And most recently, we all played Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, which is the most recent in the Borderlands game, which is a spinoff. And it was fun playing with you guys. It was. I think it's the best gameplay in the franchise. But the writing was very disappointing to me compared to the initial game it came from, which was Borderlands 2 DLC, Assault on Dragon Keep, which is peak Borderlands. So we were disappointed with that. The level design was meh. There's too many freaking pirates.
The second half of the game was just awful.
So many pirates, but I did really think the game found its stride with that Chaos Chamber. I know Scott and I played a lot of that as well. So I had a lot of fun with it. But Borderlands, honorable mention from me. And I know Scott was more of a Borderlands guy than I am in that he dove into it and knew this guy drops this and things like that. So I'm not really going to talk about it, but I want to put that out there. That was our most recent Bustin Balls co-op game. Scott, I know you got a great history with the Borderlands for the most part. Do you have any initial thoughts on that as a co-op game?
So I'm actually really weird where I'm one of the few people that played maybe 95% of my time on that game solo versus co-op. So yeah, like Matt said, I did tons and tons of grinding for try to get the perfect build for my character, getting all the pearl weapons. Yes, lots of wasted hours on that game. I do believe I played a little bit of co-op for Borderlands 2, but the big one I remember getting really into co-op with these guys is Borderlands 1. Like Cromarax, that's can always be the definitive raid boss for me. I just remember us running around in circles, screaming, yelling for each other to save us. mostly one specific person who kept getting one hit killed on him. But yes, very good times on that. Lots of loot ninjaing. Definitely no honor amongst us. So yes, Borderlands will always have a special place in my heart. We'll just pretend 3 doesn't exist. But Wonderland's entertaining enough. 1 kind of rough around the edges now at this point, but definitely some good memories with that one.
Heart.
But I agree.
The first 2 games, they had the heart there, man. And I say that like they make fart jokes and poop jokes and wiener joke. They make, the lowest of low humor, but they still had heart. Okay.
It did have heart. And then 2, like Matt said, 2 was pinnacle Borderlands, and this isn't the time or place, but Handsome Jack, top 5 all-time video game villain right there.
No question.
Absolutely.
Nobody was able to combine, you loved him and he made you laugh, and you also wanted to shoot him in the face and thought he was the worst human being ever, but also was sympathetic. It was like he was everything all in one, and it wasn't forced at all. Which, fun fact, Cell from Dragon Ball Z is Handsome Jack's voice. It took me years and years and years and years.
Are you serious?
This blew my mind right there.
Yeah, perfect Cell. Perfect Cell. Gotta make sure you go.
Okay. I was like, wait, what? Okay, well, now I got to think about this. All right, continue. I got to think about this. This is kind of blowing my mind. I didn't know that.
I'm good. Let's move on topics while Mike's mind's still blown. He's kind of in a mind-blown daze.
Yeah, I had some good memories with the tournament in Borderlands 1. I remember how hard that one got, that Mad Moxie's Underdome. And I beat it once or twice, and I think you were part of that group. But that game glitched so much. There's 2 or 3 occasions we made it to the final round, and there was a glitch where something happened and we just couldn't beat it. I remember that happened multiple times.
All over.
Drove me nuts. Anywho, let's move on. So I have 2 games I want to talk about. The first one, we're going retro here. This is really my first introduction to true co-op gameplay, and it's a classic game franchise that everyone that listens to a gaming podcast would know about. It's Donkey Kong Country 3, to be specific.
Ooh, the third one. All of them.
I'm telling you about my experience. You guys bite my tongue.
Hey, I like 3.
That's fine.
Okay, I don't like it better than 2, but I like 3. So
2 I get is pinnacle, but 3 is probably my first co-op gaming experience. If you don't count playing random hockey sports games with my dad as a kid. So growing up, I was a Sega Genesis household, and my friend down the street was a Super Nintendo household. So we kind of swapped back and forth. And I'll admit the Super Nintendo definitely was the winner, even though I have a lot of good memories with the Sega Genesis. And one of the games...
Hence why Sega doesn't make systems anymore. Yep.
There's a reason. So he had Donkey Kong Country 3. And what I really liked about this game's co-op is it wasn't like the modern co-op side scrollers where you are actually playing at the same time. Think like the new Super Mario Brothers, or even like Mario 3D World, where you guys are running around at the same time. This was really you're playing together, but take your turn type game. So one person plays as, I don't even remember the name, but the Donkey Kong, not Donkey Kong character.
Kitty Kong, right?
Kitty Kong.
Is it Kitty Kong and Dixie Kong?
Yeah, and Dixie Kong. So basically one person plays the Donkey Kong equivalent, the other plays Dixie Kong. And you start the game and you're together. And if you get hit, the guy that gets hit, they're out. The guy that's basically falling around gets tagged in, and it's their turn to continue the level. And then as you're playing, you hope you find a DK barrel to basically rescue or bring back your friend that just died. What I liked about it is when you're playing the game, obviously you're playing the game, you're having a fun time. When you're not playing the game, you're still invested, you're still watching, you're still coaching, you're helping them kind of beat the level. And maybe there's a certain portion that you're better at than they are. Maybe you're better at the minecarts. Maybe they're better at the boss battles. Whatever it is, you can tag them in at any time. Like, hey, I suck at this part. Tag, you're in, finish it for me. Cool, tag me back. Or, hey, there's a secret here that I need to pick you up and throw you. So I'll do that, and then you can tag in and then keep going from there. That was really my first co-op experience, and it was such a big bonding moment for me and my friend at the time, is because at no point did it feel competitive or I want the glory. It's we're going to beat this together. And retro games also have limited lives. Not a whole lot of there's a lot of like, yeah, you can really lose and have to start over type deal, given these games had a save feature, which was wonderful. But that to me just blew my mind that we are playing this game together. And it's why I was actually disappointed in later games like New Super Mario Brothers, where you're running around at the same time. It's just chaos. it is just chaos. And even the newer Donkey Kong games, which I did love from a single player perspective, but from a group co-op perspective, it just lost its charm because you're both bouncing around at the same time. You only have a finite space to be in. It's chaos. It's not fun. What I liked about this, it's more methodical co-op experience, and it meant a lot to me to be able to do that with my friend, and I just loved it. I'm sure you all played Donkey Kong games. I don't know if you guys played Donkey Kong with a friend, but to
I
me,
was
growing
literally
up,
gonna say I have Donkey Kong Country 3 sitting over there in my cart.
yeah.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Mhm.
I didn't know either. I don't
I
think I
didn't
ever
know.
played
You're
that
telling me
co-op.
this, and I'm like, I feel like you're
All right.
bullshitting me right now. I gotta go check this
Mike,
out.
Mike, your homework is to bust out that game and play with probably your eldest kid. All right. And you guys are going to tag in and out. And I want you to report back on the next or a future podcast how it goes. Because I think even then it's going to hold up and you guys are going to have a great time with that game.
I think it's on NSO as well.
Whatever
So
works.
we could try either way.
Wow.
Wow.
Or wait, you could play the far superior Donkey Kong Country 2 instead.
But does
What?
well that
Whatever
one
it
does
takes.
have co-op, but I don't remember it being like that, right?
I'm pretty sure it was like
Was
when one
it?
guy gets hit, the other gets tagged in. Maybe it's a 3 feature. I didn't do enough research to say what the differences are between the games. I'm just talking about this one in particular.
The difference is 2 is a lot better.
I liked both. 2
Scott,
I know is considered the better, but
Did
at
you
least
even
from a
play
co-op
3, Scott?
perspective-
I did. I
Okay.
rented it.
Okay.
I rented it for a weekend from a Blockbuster. Probably 90% of you out there is like, "What's a Blockbuster?" And we'll move on.
Don't make us feel any older than we actually are, please.
Yeah, I was actually looking forward to getting some input on this one, but I am genuinely surprised that you guys didn't know that or play that. So
I mean,
now I'll
I
be
like the
curious-
game, so this sounds really cool to me.
It was.
And you know, I didn't have friends as a kid, so you know.
And
I
it
didn't have
is
that
kind of
either.
similar to like how Super Mario works with Mario and Luigi. Like Mario makes a run at the level, oh, he died. Now Luigi comes in and now it's his turn. So it's kind of like that, except you're playing at the same time and you're tagging in real time as you want, or if somebody like dies and stuff.
Yeah, instead of doing the swap yourself in solo, well, like
Yep.
you just play the other character. It's the other player.
Yeah, and the different characters, even back then, had different abilities. Dixie could do the little hover helicopter
She was
thing.
far superior.
Oh yeah, she was always the best. And I think like the other ones maybe had a bigger jump. I don't even know the differences, but I know Dixie
Did
Kong
he
was
had the
best.
cartwheel, could go longer distances, and I think he
Right.
could jump higher. Donkey Kong was all power.
He could also, and the Donkey Kong equivalent could throw, so he could actually pick up Dixie and be like, "Hey, there's a balloon up there," and just yeet her. And it added to the game that you can actually pick her up and throw her, and the other player could then jump in and play as her. So you guys probably won't have a lot to add to this, other than nice to know. I just blew your mind that this existed.
Yeah.
But that was my first co-op experience, and I absolutely loved it. I don't care that it's considered, I guess, the black sheep or worse of the Donkey Kong games. I loved it. That was the first to me, and it meant a lot. And it's gotten to the fact where if I play any other co-op game, and there is actually a side scroll I will be talking about later. Most co-op side scrolling games I just hate now because they're not that. It's just too chaotic for me. So
I
that
agree
was
with that.
mine.
I have a forever, like, I can enjoy the new Super Mario Brothers franchise enough, but that will always be the worst because of a very specific instance with a very specific person on the Wii when they first did it back on the Wii. And you could probably guess who this person is. I was playing
Of course.
Audience, spoilers out there. Every time we kind of beat around the bush and say a certain person ruined a game for us, it's an individual. His name is Christopher Rushing. Yes, you've been shamed.
And if Chris,
I'm
if
just
you
gonna
are
say it.
watching this, yes, I very vividly remember trying to play with our friend Isaiah, myself. I don't remember who the fourth one is. It might have been you, Scott, or Matt, one of you two, and
We
Chris.
mixed in and out.
Yeah, and it was like we were all like trying to do it, and every time Chris would like jump on her head, and we get knocked down to the bottom. We'd be like, I'm ready to be done.
Christopher Rushing, you are the worst.
That Dark Knight
Worst.
quote of like some people just want to watch the world burn.
The world burn, yes.
That's Christopher Rushing. I don't care if he like his thing is like I don't care if we win or not. I just want to go and kill everybody and for the lulz.
So it's good to know that Donkey Kong Country 3 wouldn't allow that. They just kill
Yeah.
themselves, and then you'd go, well, okay, I'm just not going to revive you. Have fun in the barrel. That's cool. I didn't even know that. I learned something new today. So,
I'm gonna pick Mike to go next.
Two times my mind has been blown already. This podcast.
How dare you? How dare you?
You don't want the last word?
You do not have the authority to make that choice. And I'll go last though. That's fine.
Okay,
I'll give
cool.
you this
He
one.
does. He earned that segue was so good. He earned it. Like he earned this episode. He earned it.
I could have done better, but whatever.
Oh, hang on. Here we go. You guys ready? Buttless buds busting balls.
Buttless buds busting balls.
See, Scott, he keeps earning. He's earning it this time. He's working for it.
Guys, this is my podcast today. Go follow me on Twitch, please.
Buttless buds busting balls.
Buttless buds at Barker's Bears busting balls.
Just keep adding the B words in there. We'll just keep
gotta add a badonkadonk in there at some point.
Badonkadonk.
Buttless badonkadonk buds busting
Bear Barker balls.
Barker balls.
Just rolls off the tongue.
There, yes.
Rolls off. What is that, like
how many
9B?
B's was that? I didn't even see.
Yeah, I
like
think
how,
that was 9.
Yeah, something like that.
8.
All right, so my first game is a game that I know neither of you played. You've heard it, and I'm very like I actually through this we have a little back end stuff here. We have like a document that we all share that we kind of like throw up our ideas of topics to talk about, just like on a whim and throw it up there for everybody to see. And I didn't know. I threw it up for some other kind of topic, but I just wanted to talk about this game because one day, I don't know what triggered it. It just was there. And I was like, man, I really had a fun time with that game. And that game is Rainbow Six Vegas 2. And it was specifically on the Xbox 360 that I played. And I played with my good friend Mark. And I didn't, I'd played a Rainbow Six before. It was fine. It was okay. It wasn't huge into the games. But Mark was like, hey, if you buy this, like I think it was the first game. If you buy this game, I'll play with you. And we played through that one. And so then when the second one was coming out, I was actually hyped for it. I was like, yeah, I'm ready for this. So we bought it. And it was it's a classic co-op. And it was all about strategy. So to kind of give you perspective on what it is, it's a first person. Actually, no. Now that I'm thinking about it, it was a third person. And what it was is that I would liken it to, there's Rainbow Six Siege, right? Where like it's all about being methodical, being planning ahead. So like terrorists, it takes place in Las Vegas. Go figure from the name. And terrorists have taken over like this casino or various things. I'm trying to remember the story. The story's whatever, okay? But you have all these tools at your disposal. Like cameras that went under the door, heat, like all this stuff, And so Mark and I would just spend hours with this game, and we'd plot it out and say, okay, well, so we've got, 3 terrorists back here, 2 up on the upper floor, and it was like multi stories too. So it wasn't just like all taking place on one level. And so they would have hostages, or there would be certain things where it was like, you can't let the hostages die. You can't let the terrorists do something, right? There were always clarifiers on top of the main objective of taking care of business. And so there would be so many times there'd be like, okay, Mark, you take the top floor, I'm going to take the bottom, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to toss a smoke grenade in there, and I'm going to take this side, and at the same time, so that they don't hear, I want you to go at the top and do blah, blah, blah. And we just would like plan out these super detailed things in this game and then execute them. And there was no better feeling than like we would do it and it would work perfectly to be like, yeah, let's do the next part, And it was such a cool team. It was 2-player. There was no more than that, just 2-player. I don't think it was online. It may have been online. It was 360, but I don't think it was online. We just played on the same screen. And it was, hours upon hours upon hours. And so, like, we would finish a level and we'd go, okay, we kind of sucked. How can we do better? And then we'd replay the level again. And we would and then they had challenge maps. They had all sorts of stuff. And it was just a really good time. And it was just fun. It wasn't just a regular old shooter. It was fun. It was team tactical action. So And you guys probably have nothing to add to this because you never played it, but it is really fun.
My only question is, you said that's Rainbow Vegas 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
So apparently Terrace already took over Vegas once. And they're like, you know what? Terrace won't ever take over an entire casino twice. Like, we don't have to go in
That's why they were able to. They just, their ego. They're like, nah, they won't do it again. And then they did it again.
They snuck in with the Circus crowd.
Yeah, instead of going in through the Excalibur in the first game, they were at Circus in the next one.
They're just a bunch of trapeze artists flipping around.
It would be really cool, too, like, going into a room, and there'd be all these slot machines, and there's, like, nobody there because everybody got evacuated except for the hostages they grabbed. Yeah. And so, like, you'd be, like, literally, like, creeping around a corner, and you just hear slot machines, like, you'd be like, there's a terrorist, you're like, pop, 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 like, shoot him in the leg, and he's like, ugh! Like, it's just, like, the aesthetic and everything. It was super cool.
Please tell me on one of the levels you were able to go and unleash the Siegfried and Roy White Tiger and have it be a distraction and use it to like your advantage. Please tell me you could use the tiger in that game.
I'm going to say no. I don't remember that. But you saying that, I feel like there were specific like things.
There had to be a reference to it.
Think about the Hitman games, right? If you're familiar with those, where there are multiple, like it's the same problem and you have the same outcome, but like how you get there can be done differently. But like this is obviously way more limited because this was back on the 360. But I think there were things you could do to trigger events that could like distract them. And I vaguely remember something like with a tiger or an animal or something, and it like they distracted him, and then you could be like, come up behind him and be like,
all right, okay.
So yeah, Yakuza Like a Dragon. Scott should play that. 2, you mentioned this was split screen. I hate split screen so much, and maybe if like that was one of your early introductions into a co-op game, it wasn't so bad. Like it might sound like I'm blaspheming right here, but I always respected and enjoyed what GoldenEye was. But even as a kid, I hated sharing a screen. I absolutely hated it. I know.
I'm gonna hit down for that.
It didn't bother me. And
you were a dumb kid, and you didn't know there was a world out there where you could play the same game on 2 TVs. Nobody cared back then. It was just the way it was. The fact you were able to play, the fact that 2 people were able to play one game alone was mind blowing to me at the time. Now you're all spoiled. Oh yeah, let's play on different TVs. Let's have multiple monitors up and chat on Discord.
And you know what's funny?
As we're gaming.
I don't know 100%. I think that it actually takes more of a toll on the hardware and better software coding, like development, to do a split screen because it uses more horsepower, because online just says, oh, okay, I just got to connect these 2 pieces of hardware that are running independently from each other, as opposed to one piece of hardware running 2 separate instances at the same time in the same map.
Yeah, that's why a lot of games don't do it anymore, because the devs are just like, nah, it's not worth the effort. You can suck it up, couch co-op. Have no friends in real life. Only play with your friends online. Yes. Like a modern Zoomer.
That's how it should be. Like I'm getting PTSD looking at all 3 of us in a box together. It's hurting me very badly. Or maybe it could just be Scott. I don't know, man. Anywho, Rainbow Six 2, The Search for More Money. Did they ever make any other ones after that?
They may have made a third one, but I don't. Siege? Yeah, I don't think it died out, and then that was around when everything started to go. I want to say it might have been 2010. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think the first game may have come out in 2006 or 7, and this one came out in 2010, which would have been like the heyday of the 360, and that's when you started to see a lot more you should buy digital games on Xbox Live, microtransactions, DLC. Like you started to see the rise of that stuff. And I there may have been a third one, but I think they pulled a Dead Space 3 with it, where they just kind of killed it, and it was like, no thanks.
So here's my question: like looking back, Donkey Kong Country 3 not as good as 2. We get that. Looking back, objectively speaking, now, like we remove the memories and fondness, nostalgia. Would you say that was a good co-op game?
A good co-op game?
A good co-op game, because I do think
game. No.
Okay. That's
So like,
really all I wanted to know.
if I played that game solo right now, and I'm starting to wonder, like, if I might have it out there in my, I might still have it out there in my rack of games, because I like never return games. The game itself was I wouldn't play it now by myself, but it was playing with Mark specifically and playing with my friend who was just as into it. And it was just that strategic. It was the strategy, honestly. That's what it was. It wasn't even the game. The game was just the means of us getting together and being like, what if you do this and I do that and we try this at the same time? Okay, let's try it. You know, it was that, which you can get in like a deck building game. You can get that in card games. You can get that in other venues too. So not a good game. I think a great co-op game. Just really fun to play with somebody else.
Gotcha. And that's what I was looking for, because Donkey Kong Country, like if I had to pick which one to replay, I'd probably do 1 and 2. And I played, oh man, this was, I don't know how long ago, but I played through all 3 of them with like an emulator type deal, so I could just rewind so I could speed run through it. And I still had a great time with it. But 2 is definitely superior. And I'd say nostalgia speaking, it was a great co-op game. But I never played 1 or 2 with the co-op elements. I can't say which one's better. So I was just curious about that. So the game is, but you guys had a great fun time with it. And if given the opportunity again, maybe you might revisit something like that.
Yeah, if they were to make something like another, like Vegas Forever, Vegas 4, Vegas whatever, right? Nowadays, and it was an online like co-op thing, like if I had somebody else to play that with, I might legitimately like look into it, because it's just fun, man. Like it's just, and I don't know if Siege, I think Siege is more like PvP, right? Like it's more like PvP as opposed to PvE or whatever you call it.
I wonder if the modern Siege is the Division now. Like the Division 1 and 2?
Yeah. Like, yeah. So, I mean, I do like those. So, I like the methodical. Methodical, thank you.
I mean, there could be math. I don't know. It's Vegas, dude.
It is Vegas. I just liked strategizing. I liked taking the strategy and implementing it, and when it didn't work, it's like, but when it worked, it was memorable. It was very good. Good times. Not a great game, great co-op. So that's my first game. Scott.
Well, I was offended that Matt stole the Scott honorable mention, so I'm going to honorable mention myself and get even. So, spoilers, I already know what games these gentlemen are going to mention, and it just occurred to me right now that there is a very, very big co-op genre that we are not touching at all. So I'm just going to throw that out there and do a quick honorable mention, and that is for the humble beat 'em ups. There we go, beat 'em ups. My mouth is now working.
I know
lots
you're
of good ones to be mentioned. Do you though? Do you?
I do. In beat 'em ups, because I thought about doing it.
Write it on a piece of paper. Write on a piece of paper, and then see.
Oh, we think it is?
Yes.
I don't have paper.
So you're gonna have to use honor system. I don't have a little piece of paper near me. I have a bunch of pens.
Fine. Okay, fine. So I would go and say probably the best beat 'em up there is, and the most influential and famous, is Turtles in Time. That's not going to be my suggestion though, for the only reason that Turtles in Time, my cousins owned it. They were assholes. They never let me play with them. Probably have to do with the fact that I was terrible at it, and they didn't want me dragging them down.
So they
no
ruined
excuse.
It.
They ruined it for me. I had to play that game by myself. Thanks a lot, jerkbag cousins. So instead, I'm going to go talk about one that's probably not as influential, but is fantastic, awesome in a multitude of ways, and that is Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
That's what I was going to say.
Of course, Mike.
Because that's the one we played. That's the one we played all the time.
So the really funny thing about Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and they actually came out of a complete edition of it, I want to say a year or two ago, available on anything, PlayStation 5. Oh, here's Mike. Mike's going to walk off near our room. He's going to be all like,
get his copy.
Look how cool I am. I have every freaking game under the sun in my living room. Anyhow.
Spot on impression.
Thank you. I practice in the mirror all day long. Okay, show it, Mike. Come on, show it.
There it is.
There we go.
I like the retro box too. Oh, that is cool.
It's like a VHS.
That's pretty cool. Yes.
That was an old Sega Genesis case, basically. I remember those.
But then if you look on the inside here too, it's so cool. So they have a Mario World map of Toronto.
All right, Mike, you're gonna have to hold us up to the camera my entire spiel, just so I can like talk level by level and point at your screen, and like, and that one is where you go and fight the
This
massive
is an honorable
robot.
mention. You don't get the whole thing, but they have like a Super Nintendo booklet.
Oh yeah,
in
talk to
here.
him.
They have a card. It's cool. Good stuff.
Cool.
Anyway,
Let me finish my honorable mention. Damn it! Quit showing off your game.
go.
Cool. Crazy thing about this game is I think it originally came out 7-8 years ago, and it actually didn't have online co-op when it first came out. It got it like 4 or 5 years after the game came out, which is really crazy. Now you can buy it on the Switch and your PS5, Xbox Series X, whatever, and it comes with the online co-op in there, so you don't have to worry about this. When I played this game a ton, it was actually good old-fashioned couch co-op. So the whole thing, Matt was saying, like, he doesn't like playing on the same screen, people doing stuff at the same time, chaos. I agree with that to an extent, but I feel like when it comes to beat-em-up games, no, that's the standard. It has to be chaos, enemies everywhere, people doing their crazy special move shit. It's just, it's a staple of that genre. So I played it a lot, couch co-op with Mike. I want to say maybe with you too, Matt. I don't know for sure.
We started. I ended up getting it on the Switch because you guys guilted me into it.
Well, I mean, when it originally came out.
No, I never owned it originally, but we have played it within a year, a year on the Switch.
Yeah, so most of my time playing this game, it was probably when it originally came out. Like they said, we actually all did get together on the Switch as well. We played it a bit. I don't know if we actually ever cleared the campaign.
We got to get back in. We got like halfway through. We got to get back to it. We got distracted by Wonderlands.
Great game, and like I said, there's lots of reasons to be into it. Obviously, if you're into Scott Pilgrim, the comic, I don't think officially can be called a manga because it's not done by a Japanese person. But if you love the manga, comic, lots to love in the game. If you love the movie, lots to love in the game. If you just like good old beat-em-ups, lots to love in the game. If you just like retro Super Nintendo Air callbacks, that type of goodness, lots to love in the game.
You like good music, chip tunes?
Lots to love in the game.
Good
All right,
stuff.
I feel like my honorable mention was a little bit too long, so there we go. Scott Pilgrim versus the World, great co-op game. My next one, I guess technically my first one, is going to be a humble little game called Guitar Hero 3. So technically, I probably spent more time playing co-op for Guitar Hero or Rock Band 2 and 1, but I kind of talk about Rock Band a lot, so I want to spice up and talk a little bit about Guitar Hero, because Guitar Hero 3 co-op also has a pretty special place in my heart. And is this goober in the middle of my screen with the big Borisy mustache is the man who I share most of the Guitar Hero 3 co-op memories with. That's right, Matthew Worsham.
Did you say Borisy
No,
mustache?
he said
Walrusy.
He meant
Walrusy.
to say walrusy.
Okay.
Walrus. I keep saying Walrus.
I thought you said Borisy, and I was like, what does that mean?
Can you say anything with the word L? Say lollipop.
Lollipop.
Okay, now say walrus.
Walrus.
Say wall. Say wall.
Wall.
Russ.
Russ.
Walrus.
Walrus.
There it is.
All right, that's fine.
Anyway, back to my rant. Guitar Hero 3. So, it is probably perhaps more well known for its competitive. So, you both play the same exact song. Whoever hits the most notes and is more willing to get arthritis in their fingers wins the match. What a lot of people don't realize is they actually had a co-op mode where you would go and one person would play the bass, the other person would play the guitar. And this was before Rock Band, when, playing the bass was more popularized and mainstreamed. Guitar Hero did have that too. I want to say they even had it in Guitar Hero 2, the ability
I actually
to go
preferred the bass in those games. I couldn't play the guitar, but I could do the bass.
You would prefer the easier of the two, Mike? Yeah, anyhow.
Hey, I'm a guitarist. It just blew. I could try.
Unlike us, he can play an actual string instrument. So I guess we'll let it slide.
Hey. Shh. Hush. Lots of really fun songs, though, in that game. But in particular, I will always remember the one thing. Oh, wait, I'm actually saying the wrong game. It was Guitar Hero 2 that I should be talking about, not 3.
It's a Guitar Hero.
Just say Guitar Hero,
run with
right?
Yeah, the Guitar Hero.
Yeah, they're kind of all one.
The definitive co-op song, though, is a little song called Freebird. I don't know why. Matt is the type of person, hopefully, you kind of know Matt well enough to know that, like, he doesn't like the platinum stuff. He just likes to play his stuff. He doesn't really go for challenges. For some reason, he was a man possessed, I was a man possessed. And there was a good weekend that our whole mission in life was getting over 1,000,000 points in Freebird and co-op. Matt, we suffered. We bled.
Oh my gosh.
It was blood, sweat, and tears to go and get that 1,000,000 on Freebird. But I'll tell you what, when we went and got that 1,000,000 points in that song, it was the most glorious moment of our lives. There may have been tears. There may have been hugs. I don't know. Maybe there was a little peck on the cheek. Can't say for sure. You know,
maybe there's some pants coming off.
A gentleman never kisses and tells. It was a glorious moment, though. So one of those things that I truly feel sad that a moment like that could probably never be replicated again, just because like now the standard is online and you get over 1,000,000. You could play Rock Band now. I think they have online co-op. You can get 1,000,000 in a song. I think they even have Freebird available to play on there. But there's just something about two buddies spending a whole weekend playing one song, trying to get 1,000,000 points over and succeeding was such a great experience. So, you have any input on that one, Matt?
It's one of my most favorite gaming memories, and we actually have quite a few when it comes to that genre of music. There's one where we spent another weekend, like I think beating every single song. It was part of a trophy. Like you had to beat like every single song in like some weird campaign. And one song we just kept failing because we kept memeing each other too hard. We don't need to talk about the awful song that to this day, when I hear it, I will make everyone turn it off. You will not play that song.
Wait, what song is it? I got to know this
now.
Epic,
Faith No More. Anyhow.
The stupid song had a very long ending where if you have no notes and you hit something on the guitar, it counts as a dock against you. So the first time we beat this song, we're like, we're going to meme and just do this until we fail the song. And then for some reason, we just kept doing it. We just couldn't not meme each other. Anywho, it was
some men just want to see the world burn.
We were very sadistic.
You guys were just pulling a Chris on each other. That's weird.
Yeah, we hated ourselves very much that day. No, getting Freebird is one of my utmost 100%, like not 100% in it. Getting the 1,000,000 points. I think we played on the hard difficulty, maybe not the expert, but there was a challenge to get 1,000,000 points, and that's like the only song to do it. And I remember we tried, took a break, got burritos, walked around the mall, got ourselves like psyched up, maybe bought a wrestling DVD, and then went back and played it. And then we finally beat it. And it was just one of those like euphoric gaming moments where I won't say we pecked on the cheek, but there was like, yeah, hugging, jumping. It was on the second floor of his parents' house. So we were like thumping all over the place. And his parents were like, something like that. It was incredible, and some of my most favorite co-op moments were playing those games, in particular at Scott's house up there in Victorville, where I had a weekend to do nothing, you had a weekend to do nothing, so we play little plastic guitars. Top gaming moment for me.
Can you say you can do that with your real guitar mic? I don't think so. So who's the real loser now?
I have many times before.
Shut up.
I mean, we didn't get points, but we got other
points,
satisfaction.
Points. How do you know you did well or not if you didn't get points?
The looks on people's faces. If I didn't do well, they'd be looking at you a certain way.
So here's a fun contrast. So Scott and I had this with our fake instruments. Mike and I were in a band for a while. Very briefly, what I learned, he taught me drums, and we played a few shows. Some bad, some were really fun. So Mike and I had the real like rock star moment. And then I have to say this with all confidence. Mike, doing a good set felt good, but beating Freebird somehow at that time meant so much more to me. I can't explain it now. Like if I was like, Matt, do you want 100% like a Guitar Hero or go play in a band? I'm like, I'm going to play in a band again. But that feeling of beating freaking Freebird was better than like when we crushed a set, wherever the heck it was that we were playing, what few sets and things that we did. So that's more reflection of that gaming moment than the band, given I was a terrible drummer, but we won't need to talk about that.
I think what really contributed to it was the fact that we saw that achievement because it was on Xbox and it was an achievement to get over 1,000,000 points. Yeah. And we even said to I think it was even Matt, he was like, yeah, we ain't getting that one. And so it's like, well, let's just kind of try. Let's try on Freebird. And I think on our first
you did like well enough. You're like, huh?
Yeah, it's like, wait, this is actually feasible. So it was one of those things where it went from being something like that's totally out of our league to like, well, actually, wait, that's kind of. And that was, I think, the thing that really drove us is like, wait, this is actually maybe doable. And slowly we crept higher up and up and up. We learned to be a little bit less terrible on the solo.
In my opinion, those are the best achievements or trophies. The ones where you're like, no. Then you try it out of just morbid curiosity, and you're like, I got way closer than I thought I could. I think I can do this now. Those are the good ones.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna end my little spiel with I do feel I have to give a shout out to Matt and my band name. It was the Bass and Bass Connection. So you know what? You think the Beatles were a big deal? The Rolling Stones? Forget about it. History will always know that the definitive dynamic duo will be the Bass and Bass Connection forever. There you go.
I forgot about that because you could pick your guitar in the games, and one of us would pick an actual fish, so it was a bass, and then the other person was playing bass, so we were the Bass and Bass Connection. I forgot.
Oh man,
I forgot about that. See, I feel a little bad because most of my gaming nostalgia memories are before we became adults and depressed and everything. I grew up with Scott. Mike, we met well after we actually started, pretty much right when we started adulthood. So a lot of these young gaming moments, I was just we have a few with Mike, especially TF2 and things like that. But I'm just oh man, I don't really have those with Mike, unfortunately, which is why you mentioned Rainbow. So when you first mentioned Rainbow Siege, I'm like, wait, why didn't he mention a moment with us? And I thought about it, I'm oh, we don't really have a whole lot.
Because I was a Humboldt kid, man. I was on the other side of the state being a weirdo.
That was a good one, Scott. Any other thoughts you have about the co-op? Because I know you play that with more than just me. I know that's a moment that sticks out, but we did co-op with a lot of people. I mean, I'm sure you've had it with other folks as well.
So the big ones was another individual that we had previously referred to in this episode, Chris Rushing. So I think you imagine how well playing with him would go. Just blah, 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 blah. Oh, this is dumb. I'm just going to go play a real guitar and look cool. And then certain Timothy Rushing, who always accused his poor performance because of the guitar not being calibrated or the TV not being calibrated right. And
or you. It's all
Listen,
you.
That was a legitimate concern. That was a legitimate thing. There was a setting. You had to mess with it.
Yes, but you don't usually have to go through it 5 times, and you keep claiming that the calibration is broken. But anyway, I kid. Well, I don't kid. You really did do that, Tim. Screw you. But I love you. Anyway.
I find it funny. I have two things to say. One completely, well, not completely not related. The other one is I find it funny that our first games were all couch co-op. You notice that? Not online.
Well, because we're old men, Mike.
But we timed it. We didn't plan it that way. We didn't play it we were we're going to do all the couch co-op first, and then our next round are all online. They were all online co-op.
The way we picked it. I gotcha.
So it's just weird how that turned out. And then also, so Matt, you mentioned our band thing earlier. You mentioned that moment, and it reminded me of one very specific show, and I feel like this is just a good little break from to our next section of games. Do you remember playing at the hotel in? I think it was in Corona.
It's the drunk lady story, isn't it?
It's the drunk lady story.
I love this story.
So first of all, there were 4 of us in this band, and one of them was actually good old Chris Rushing.
That jerk.
He's everywhere in this podcast.
He's everywhere.
He's infested.
But there were 4 of us, and first of all, so the 4th guy, he had gotten this gig for us. We're like, sweet, we got a gig. This is awesome. They want us there, and we show up, and they said it was at a hotel, and we were like, whoa, that's pretty cool. And then we get there, and where they have us, there are literally 3 levels. There was a floor, there was a second level, a fountain, and then a top level. And so the bassist, or actually I guess Chris was in the back because he didn't do any singing. He was just guitarist. So we shoved him in the back on the upper level. Me and the other guy, we sang harmony and melody, and he played bass, I played guitar. So we were on the second level. And Matt, being the drummer, we ain't going to haul that stuff up to the top. So he was on the ground level, right next to everybody, everybody that was there. And it was a very tight space. And there was this lady there. We did not know this lady. She was just there at the hotel. And she was drunk as hell. I mean, if she would have stood up, she would have fallen over on her face, like a viral video kind of thing. she would not leave Matt alone. She was all about Matt the whole night. It was the best thing because it was none of us and it was all Matt. It was awkward. There was a guy there too, and I thought they were together, and the whole time she's like,
too.
"Whoa, drummer boy!" And all of us, I remember turning around, looking at Chris, and just looking at Chris, and Chris is just like, "Oh man, I'm so glad it's not me," because normally it was Chris, but that's a different demographic. This was an older lady, so Matt was definitely cool with the older ladies. Chris was more of the younger ladies. Oh my goodness, that was a great memory. That was a 0 point though. That was not a 1,000,000-point Freebird achievement. That was a 0 point, but it was still funny.
I have context to add to this to make the story even better. One, that's my one Rockstar moment. So that
was a great set too, by the way. Like we played really well, and the sound was actually really good. So
to add context to it is the size of this patio. This was a patio. The size of the patio was legit, probably as big as my office right now. So we were just all piled in, but kind of elevated. There were these towers. That's how they made space. Super small. So I made everyone deaf with my drums. So that was funny to begin with. 2, it was also my wife and my aunt's birthday.
Oh, I forgot about that.
No, we were dating at the time. So it was my girlfriend's birthday and my aunt's birthday. And also there, and I'll get to this moment, are my youth pastor at the time, or regular pastor, whatever his position was, it was Greg. He was there as well, and we had a lot of friends there. So I get up, and I'm like, I'm going to sing happy birthday to my girlfriend at the time, now wife, and my aunt. So I get up, and I make some comment, and I usually don't swear on any camera, stream, or anything. I'm, by default, family friendly, but I'm going to quote this lady here. I get up to sing happy birthday. I'm like, hey, this is my girlfriend's birthday, my aunt's birthday. And this drunk lady stands up, holding her beer, and she just goes, "You're the shit."
I forgot
and
about
goes like,
this. It was loud. It wasn't like, "You're the shit."
It.
It was like, "You're the shit."
She
and all of us were like,
yells it. And what got me the most there was not just my girlfriend at the time and aunt's facial expression, was my youth pastor in the back then proceeded to lose his shit.
Oh,
Greg lost it. He was dying. I'm just out there like, what do I do? I think I did like this thing like, thank you. Like kind of just like a little finger point. And then proceeded to sing happy birthday to my now wife and my former girlfriend, now wife, and then also my aunt. And there you go. That adds some context to it. That was my Rockstar moment. Drunk lady screamed at me.
So
my youth pastor lost it, and it was my wife's birthday.
Just enforcing your point that was a better moment, the Freebird moment.
I'm sure there's thousands of people out there who have the 1,000,000-point rock band achievement, but Matthew Worsham, you're the only one that has like drunk older lady saying you're the shit achievement out there.
That's true.
While trying to sing happy birthday to your girlfriend.
Like that's an exclusive celiac_Matt's moment right there.
There we go.
What a freaking delight. All right, we're going to talk about
there.
Yeah, that honestly, that was my favorite show. We also did a cover of Punch Out, which to this day is one of the most fun drumming songs I've ever done. Yes. Anywho, we'll move on.
Time.
Next, what?
I'm going to spice it up. We never talked about what we're currently playing right now. We skipped that segment.
Oh my goodness.
Do a quick little refresh while
Yeah. So let's do the drinks thing first.
Oh yeah.
What are you drinking?
So
don't walk away, Sasquatch.
Yeah, and make sure your pants are on. For me, I'm having a rum and Coke. The rum I am using the brand is Gosling, and the reason I like it, as Scott slowly inches away, and you guys might hate me for this, but to me it reminds me of like black licorice. So it feels like a black licorice rum with Coke, and it's wonderful, and I love it.
I was like, no, he's got to say something really bad for me to like it, and you said something really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Gross.
As for me, a drink that you will probably never drink because you do not live here in the Central Coast. It is a local kombucha crafter, Whalebird.
I like the can.
Hold the can up.
It's a nice little can, yeah. I like that little whale.
It's a
with wings. What is
that?
Is that it's a whalebird.
Whalebird. It's like literally a whalebird. It's unnatural. If God wanted whales to have wings, he would have put them on there. But this is their manguava flavor. It actually kind of sucks, but they have some really good flavors too, like a lavender lemonade. Absolutely love that one. Again, don't know why I'm doing the pitch to you guys because you're never going to be able to try it. But there you go, Whalebird kombucha. I'm a big kombucha guy. I've been ruined. I've been Californialized with my kombuchas and all that stuff.
I had kombucha for lunch during my lunch today.
But you were born in California.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
I'm just drinking a Polar sparkling seltzer.
Okay. I don't know if this is true or not. So if any of our viewers out there, if you're in the Midwest or East Coast or whatever, please confirm. But I guess in other parts of the country, when you get kombucha, it's in the new age drink sections of grocery stores. And I think that's the most hilarious thing. Like, I very much do. Maybe Matt can confirm. I don't know. Like,
all right. So I live in Indianapolis, which out of all of Indiana is probably the most likely to have things like that. Originally, I could only find kombucha at places that are more health focused. So yes. So I think the first place I really found kombucha out here was, I want to say it was like was it a Fresh Time, which is the more slightly expensive, healthier grocery store, at least out where I live.
Trader Joe's. Your version of Trader Joe's.
So now you can see it everywhere. Like Target has it, Meijer has it. They're all pretty much there. But at Meijer, which is, if you're on the West Coast, similar to like Stater Brothers, Kroger, whatever, things like that, it's near the organic food section with all like the produce. whereas like Target, no, it's all there in the produce section. It's one drink you can get in the produce section. Yeah, that's Indiana. Yep.
New age drinks. Anyhow.
All right. And so that's our drinks. And then what games you guys playing? What are you playing?
I'm playing a lot, but I just want to talk about the one I've played the most recently, and we streamed it a lot because of the Splatfest that, as of the speaking, ended last weekend, which was great. It was Zelda related, Team Power, Wisdom, or Courage. Team Power dominated in Splatoon, so I played a lot of Splatoon.
Every category, baby.
Ganondorf all the way. Here's my Smash Brother tattoo for those that are watching on YouTube. I'm a Ganondorf main since Melee. I had to be Team Power. So I played a lot of Splatoon 3, had a lot of fun on my Twitch channel with that one. So Splatoon 3, had a blast.
There you go. For me, I'm actually in a little bit of kind of like autopilot, not trying to get into anything too deep because right now, at the time that we're recording this, we are only 2 days away from a very, very special game coming out. So I know once that game comes out, I'm not going to care about anything else but playing it. So I'm holding off on really getting into anything deep until Tears of the Kingdom. It is worth mentioning, though, that I played a certain 4-hour-long game last night. Finally, for those of you that have been following along, I have finally beaten Doki Doki Literature Club. And I'm not going to talk much about the game when Matt gets around to playing it. So sorry, spoilers. I'll let him do his pitch later on about it. All I'm going to say about that game is, I don't want to sound over dramatic, but it kind of changed me. I'm actually tired as hell right now because I only slept like 3 hours last night because I probably spent half of my time in bed, like just kind of the horrible imagery of things I saw in that game burned into my mind. When I close my eyes, all I can see is certain things. I'm sure anybody who's played the game already, you know the exact things that I have burned in my consciousness now from that game. But I can't say I enjoyed the experience. Well, I appreciated the experience. It was a well-made game. It was very innovative. I don't really like the things that I saw. I don't like the emotions it invoked within me, but definitely it was an incredible experience. It took me places. Whether there are places I wanted to go, I don't think so, but it definitely took me places. And I won't recommend it for everybody, but if you are pretty strong mentally and you can go and handle some pretty heavy shit, I think it's definitely, I don't know. Take your chance on it. Try taking that ride.
But even if you aren't mentally strong, I think that there's something there for it. Like there's something there to be had. And I told you this in our Discord. The more time you stew on this game, and the more you sit back and think, you're gonna be like working one day, not thinking about the game. Something's gonna trigger, and you're gonna go, I didn't even put that together. And you're going to start thinking about it again. I thought about this game for weeks, possibly months after I played it. And it haunted me. Not in a bad way, not in a good way either. It just like haunted me. And so for context too, last night, when the when Scott was so Scott was playing last night. And Scott, what time do you normally go to bed on a weekday? Like when
I'm
on
an
a
old
weeknight?
man. I'm an old man. Usually 8:30, 9:30 if I'm feeling like spicy.
Yeah. So I'm, and I'm a night owl. I stay up till like 11:30, 12, like every night at the that's like my base. And I knew what was happening when I see Discord messages at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night from Scott here. And I see what he's writing and I'm like, I know exactly where he's at. And then like he would say something and I'm like, I know exactly what you're going through right now.
Yeah, once that game gets bad, you can't stop playing it because you just have to go and see like I don't like where this is going, but I have to see where it's going. And probably the most shocking moment in that entire game is very predictable. You kind of like, oh, I don't like what this is building up to. I think it's going to end up being this thing, but I really don't think they're going to go that far. And they went that far. And yeah, I think I went to sleep finally at 10:30. That's when I beat the game. And spoilers, that game, there's multiple times where you think you beat it and you really don't. I think it has like 5 false finishes. And yeah, finally got to bed at 10:30. And like I said, I probably spent until 1 a.m. just thinking about some of the messed up things I saw in there. And just kind of, I think the thing that's really eerie about that game is at first, it's like Japanese schoolgirl stuff. And it's like, yeah, this is silly, whatever. And then when it starts getting like, it starts happening, it's like, wait, this is getting like a little bit too close to home. Like, I know people going through this stuff. I know like situations, like there's people in my life that I can kind of relate to these. It just gets very, very real and it gets very uncomfortable.
Real fast. And I told you, like, I remember you messaged in Discord and you said, hey, this thing happened. Is this when I'm like, I think all I did was the eye emoji, like, and then like 10 minutes later, you're like, what? And I'm like, all right, have fun.
There was a moment. Again, like, I'm actually really looking forward to Matt playing it so we can just do a full-on spoiler talk of this. There is literally a moment in the game, people use the phrase, like, chill down your spine, and, they really isn't a chill down your spine. Maybe for the first time in my life, well, a couple times in my life, but definitely the very first time in a video game, I legitimately had that honest-to-God, chill down your spine feeling. And this is basically me, at the keyboard, computer playing it. It happens, and I'm just like, and I just chill down my spine. I back away from the monitor and my keyboard, and I'm just staring at the screen for a second. And I'm just like, it took me like 10 seconds to collect myself. Like, that's all I'm going to say about that. But for a more lighter topic, aside from Doki Doki, because it was only 4 hours, the main thing I've been occupying myself in the last week is a Lego set. Lego Spider-Man Daily Bugle. I'm not going to even bring the Lego set over here because it's like 500 pounds.
It.
It's probably... Yep. Can you see in the corner there?
I see it.
You see a little bit.
Yeah.
One thing I have to show off, though, is the fucking coolest Lego minifigure ever.
Is it Carnage?
It is the Carnage figure.
Yeah!
Come on. How cool is that? How cool is that? And you know what the cool thing about the set? It has like 20 different figures it comes with. Any Spider-Man villain you can think of is part of it. Super freaking cool. If you have $350 laying around and you're like, I don't know what to do with this $350, buy the Daily Bugle Spider-Man Lego set. Anyway, there we go. On to Mike.
Right now I am a little like kind of in a holding pattern as well. I've been playing through Breath of the Wild more so. I just want to see the comparisons and the contrast between Breath of the Wild world and Tears of the Kingdom world because they actually just officially announced something new that is going to be in the game today. I'm not going to say it here in case people don't want to be spoiled. This will be after the game's released, I guess, but I still won't say it. Anyway.
Buckethead.
What?
Buckethead guy. Buckethead guy.
Buckethead guy?
You haven't seen the memes? Okay, just wait.
Okay, I haven't seen the memes.
By this time next week, all we're going to talk about is Buckethead guy.
Okay.
Spoilers.
So I've been doing that, and I am literally 2 orders in Death Stranding away from a platinum. 100% in that game. I'm probably going to do that tonight, and then I'm going to be like, I have fulfilled my purpose. I'm done with that game now. You go off into the ether. So that's what I've been playing, and it's been wonderful. It's like cathartic, and it's like not it's a good time waster before Tears of the Kingdom comes out in just a couple days. It is so close, man.
You guys, like, I'm excited, but you guys are all like, you and everyone I know is like super excited. I'm like, why is everyone like this level of crazy about it. Like, I know it's going to be good, but I'm just sitting here like, yeah, I'm excited, guys. But everyone is like, about it.
Well, see,
So
you've kind of shut off to it for a while now, right? Because you weren't getting it. You hadn't played Breath of the Wild for a while, and so like all of us have been like sincerely waiting since they announced it back in like what 2019. It's been like 4 years or something like that when they're like,
Matt,
it's coming.
You're one of those Christians, you know, kind of lukewarm. You're at church. You're like, I don't, yeah, whatever. I'll go to church. And we're all like, praise hallelujah, Lord. And you're going to be there and you're going to start playing Tears of the Kingdom. And you're just going to be like,
you're going to feel the spirit.
I'm going to re-give my life to you, my Lord. Tears of the Kingdom. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I have been saved. That will be you, Matt. The fire will be
You're going to start doing the dance. You're going to start doing the church dance.
I can walk. I can dance. I can see. Hallelujah.
Church of the Kingdom.
I'll be a born again Zelda fan. Let's go.
That's a let's go. That's a let's go.
All right, let's go. Let's go talk about co-op video games.
What's your second?
Segue for you. All right, second one. I saved this one for last on purpose. This game, some of you might not have heard of because it was exclusive to the Xbox 360 at the time. I'm not sure where it's been moved. It might be on the Switch now. I don't remember.
I don't think it's anywhere else, dude. I think it's on Xbox Live.
I think the sequel actually made it to the Switch, but we won't talk about that. We're going to talk about the original. This was when Xbox Live Arcade had some like bangers of games exclusive, like Castle Crashers was one of them. I think Geometry Wars at the time. Shadow Complex, and our friend Tim was into that one. This game is wonderful. It is called Splosion Man.
Splosion Man!
Splosion Man, spelled Splosion Man. Splosion Man. It is and I have notes here. I actually made notes because I wanted to save this one for last, and I'm this passionate about this game. It is a platforming game where you play as a science experiment where your gimmick is that you explode and use it to platform and solve problems. You don't jump. You don't attack. You only explode. You just explode. And it projects you based on where you are. You can explode off a wall, up into a wall, into things, into evil scientists. That is the gimmick. You are a exploding thing. And the game was hilarious. The platforming was challenging and fun. Think Celeste, but less deep narrative, more slapstick where your guy yells random meats as he explodes all over the level and people. He will yell things like open-faced roast beef sandwich and like ham. He just goes like ham. He just says meat as he explodes all over the place. And there was a great single player with unique levels. But where it really, really shined for me was on the multiplayer because they designed the whole multiplayer campaign separate from the main game. There's the main game with all their fun platforming levels. And then there's a completely unique, different, more levels specifically designed to be played with a friend. Which meant a lot of the time you had to be synced up with your friend to complete these tasks. Now, this is where I talked about where I don't like too many things taking up my screen. It's not split screen. You share a screen, and it's very much like Celeste and games like that where like you start at this area. If you die, you're back at the start of that area, and you have to puzzle solve with your friend to complete these tasks. And then, to make it even better, many times you're given a chance to beat the level or be a dick to your friend and kill them and then laugh about it and then start the section over again. You best believe Scott and I chose the dick option all the time because it was funny. My personal favorite is we were running on glass where if you explode, the glass just goes away and you die. I had a good lead on Scott, and you both have to finish the course to move on. I had a good lead on Scott. We worked really hard. I saw the finish line, and they put that glass there on purpose. Like, I bet there's someone that's going to ruin it for everybody. And you know what? I did. I did ruin it for everybody. We were so close to the finish line. I exploded. I saw Scott fall down and yell, "No, why?" And he died. And we had to do it over again. But it was funny.
My rebuttal?
Yes.
There was one where you had to go, you're both in different levels, and then there was a trap door that you had to open for your partner for him to get out of danger's way. If they stayed down there too long, there was some type of like spiky pull thing that would slowly like move across and smash the other person in there. I was in the clear. I was good. I was at the lever, and Matt's like, Scott, open it for me. Open. Just long enough to go in, give him false hope. Close again. And I just slowly watched him die. And I loved it. It was delightful. But I have to say, the only thing better than intentionally killing your friend is unintentionally killing your friend. And there were so many times in that game where we're like, all right, let's get through this. We're going to stop dicking around. We're a team. Let's get through this. And then one of the like very difficult things is you would have to sometimes explode against each other and ricochet off each other to get to higher levels. So you would have to like, I think there's even like a button you would push that would make a countdown appear on the screen just for the purpose of being able to go and sink these jumps. And there would be sometimes you would jump a little bit too early. And if you explode too early and like you're over his head instead of on the side of his body, you would just launch him into an electrical fence or spikes and kill him. And there'd be so many times like, let's go. Oh, Matt.
I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Matt. I'm so sorry.
You're saying really this and it's bringing back memories.
It was so good. And there's even like a self-destruct button where like, oh, he died. My turn. And then sometimes you're just like, no, we're going to wallow in your stupidity for a moment. I'm not going to kill myself. We're going to let you think about the mistakes that you have made. So you can just stand there and just wait and not explode yourself. And what I liked about the timer is someone had to say like, I'm going to hit the timer button before I hit the timer button. Because if one person hits the timer button and then someone else hits the timer button, it overwrites the timer button. So they're like, no, let me hit the timer button.
And you keep pushing it.
And you just keep pushing. It's like you're trying to unlock the door, but they keep pulling the handle as you're trying to unlock the door. It's that infinitely. And this might sound annoying. It all might sound annoying, but it's freaking, it's just hilarious. Scott, what do you got? You got something.
You forgot to mention, though, that we got to the point where we were just re-saying the counter on each other so much, and we were just spazzing out doing the suicide, like starting to do the suicide motion, but stopping. We just did crazy little raves of just like numbers popping on the screen and spazzing out. Like there was literally times we did nothing for 5 minutes, but just spaz out on the screen with our little explosion raves. And I think this is one of those games. It was a fun game and it was a well-designed game, but I feel like a lot of these co-op games are fun for reasons that I'm sure that the developers did not intend at all. Just very stupid things you came up with, abusing the physics of the games or features of the games, and you just kind of,
I don't know, man. Explosion Man, I feel like they were trying to like encourage that.
I don't remember. I should have I meant to look up the name of the developer, but they made games like this all the time.
Twisted Pixel.
Thank you. They made some really good stuff. But anyway, the game itself is fun. If you guys get the chance to play Explosion Man, either single player or if you can with a friend, you should. It is a great game. But here's why this game, other than what we mentioned, sticks out to me so much. One of my favorite co-op memories of any game, is playing this with Scott. Not just because it was fun and challenging and funny, but because of Scott's now enemy, Big Meat.
You tried to buy me off Big Meat, and it worked for a while.
Didn't they have, so correct me if I'm wrong.
I'm getting to it.
Okay, they did have like, they had the weird deal with, okay.
This is the story. Big Meat is the reason why this game was so great for me from a co-op standpoint. Explosion Man did a collab with a literal franchise steak company called Omaha Steaks, where if players played a co-op game during a certain weekend, they would be entered into a raffle to win literal steaks. And Scott and I won literal steaks from gaming that weekend.
You guys actually got it?
We played Explosion Man during a Omaha steak meat competition, and we won.
A couple great details. It was good. I think Matt's dad cooked it, but a couple great details. A couple great details. Sorry if I'm getting ahead if you were going to share this, but a couple great things. Like Matt was saying earlier, in the game, you would just randomly shout out random meat names. One of the things he would shout out, and like the continue screen, like if you respawn or if you go to the next level or something, it would have kind of like a spinny Batman screen thing, and it would be Explosion Man's face. And one of the things he would yell out is, steaks! And so I guess Omaha Steaks out there was like, sweet, this game is mentioning us. Let's just go and partner with them. Second funny thing is you didn't have to enter you officially had to enter it by playing, but there was no other forms you went online or anything you filled out. Literally all you did was go online this weekend, play, you get entered to win your steaks. We didn't know this was a contest. We had no idea this was going on. We were just We just were playing Explosion Man. We just happened to one weekend. And I was the one, because I believe Matt was over at my house and we were doing couch co-op.
No, this
I
was
forget.
online.
It was
We did this
online.
I
It was
was
online.
in my. I was
okay,
on
you
my
could
bed.
okay,
you
you're
could
right.
do it. You could do a couch co-op because I played that game with my wife, and she actually just mentioned this like 2 weeks ago, by the way, which is really weird that she's like, whatever happened to that game?
I remember now. I got first, so I go to the mail and I just get this certificate saying you won the Omaha Steak competition. Here's a $50 gift certificate, and I'm just like, why did I get a $50 gift certificate for Omaha Steaks? And I look at it more. It's like, oh, you got it from winning the Explosion Man competition. I'm like, wait, what? And I I think back then it was AIM, and I went and sent IM to Matt. And it's like, Matt, I just won a $50 steak gift certificate. And I think it was a couple days later, Matt's just like, I won a gift certificate too. So it's like, all right, we won free steak for a contest we didn't even know we were entered in.
$50? Dude, this company was like, wow. All right.
Either we were super lucky or nobody at all was playing that game that weekend. Either way, we had our delicious steaks. So anyway, I'm sorry, Matt, you can kind of continue.
I'll continue the steak story. So yes, we get this unexpected notification mail of like, you have won $50 worth of steak for playing Explosion Man. And Scott and I were just like, what? What? So we get these certificates. And I remember fondly us trying to find a location where we could get these steaks, which was like over an hour away. I think we had to drive to LA, or at least LA County, to find an actual storefront that we could redeem it. And we drove there with my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, to track it down. And we walked into the shop and presented the paper for the free steaks or the redemption to two women working there who looked at us with complete and utter confusion. They're just like, what is this? Are you scamming us? Why would I give you free steaks for playing Explosion Man? They had no idea what was going on. They didn't understand what we had. So they had to get on the phone. I think they got on the phone and like went into the computers like, hey, what's going on? And someone's like, oh yeah, we did this thing with Explosion Man. If they have it, you have to like honor it. They're like, okay, that's weird. So they took it and we basically got like $100 like credit that we could apply to freaking steak. But they were so confused. They had no idea if it was legit or not. They figured it out. We got our free steaks. And then we drove the hour back to my house at the time. And Scott and I were like, sweet, we got our steaks. How do we cook this? We didn't cook. We didn't know how to cook. We didn't. I didn't learn how to cook until a few years into my marriage. I didn't know how to cook it. And my girlfriend was just like, you guys don't know how to cook steak? We're like, no. And she was like, do you want us to cook it? Or do you want me to cook it for you? We're like, yes. So Katie cooked the steaks for us and we ate those steaks. And here's another funny bit is we thought $100 was going to get us like steaks to last us for a whole month. No. We got 4 little tiny steaks. That was it. 4 little tiny steaks. And then we ate it. We're like, neat. So Explosion Man was a great game. Super fun co-op game. But why it means so much to me is Scott and I somehow unexpectedly won free freaking steaks just for playing this game. Explosion Man, I love you.
Hey, how many of your games have fed you? Probably not any. Us? Just throwing that out there.
We dined well. Thank you, Big Meat.
Oh, man. That's funny. I didn't realize there was a contest. I knew the whole Omaha steak thing. And one other little detail about that game that I loved was whenever you exploded one of the evil scientists, they literally just turned into giant things of meat.
Yep. Random meat, sausages.
Yeah, it wasn't all the same. It was just different
T-bones.
depending.
And you know what? Matt said earlier that like the game wasn't deep at all, but think about it. Doesn't matter how smart you are, at the end of the day, we're all just pieces of meat.
And that's sometimes multiple pieces of meat.
Oh, before I get into my game, one final thing I want to say. I don't think, I don't know, if we try to screen share it or show it in this podcast, maybe we get in trouble. So I encourage you guys on your own time, go online, put in Explosion Man end credit video.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, what are you going to talk about? But okay, yes.
You will thank me later. Trust me. Prepare for the most glorious 2 minutes of your life. And I'm just going to leave it
I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
It's Explosion Man. Oh my god.
So aside from Matt, I did cheat on you. I also played through the campaign with Isaiah. And I will always remember.
And I played with Isaiah too. Yep. We
Okay,
played
I
together.
forgot
I
about
never
Mike.
played with Matt. We played together, and I played through it with Isaiah and with my wife.
The only reason Isaiah sticks out in my mind is I will always remember that I could not even hear the Explosion Man theme song in the end credits because he was laughing so loud into his mic. Just he was dying. Like I was wondering, I'm like, all right, are you gonna be okay, Isaiah? Are you like breathing? Are you just gonna like pat? Like I was getting legitimately concerned for this guy. The amount he was laughing, like pure, like
Can you blame
busting
him
up
though?
over this. It is pretty glorious. Anyway, on the topic of 360 co-op goodness, probably one of my all-time favorite co-op experiences in general, with beat 'em ups, rhythm games, whatever. The one that is at the pinnacle for me as far as co-op goes is going to be a little game franchise that you may have heard of called Gears of War. Lots of good memories I have of Gears of War. I believe I did couch co-op with Matt in the first Gears of War, and very, very irritating. In hindsight, the first Gears of War was an infuriating game. There were so many sections that you would die on over and over again,
Especially
and be
on
forced
that
to watch.
the extreme mode to try to get the achievements.
Yes,
Awful.
and they thought they were innovative by not having cutscenes in the game. Well, they did have cutscenes, but for the most part, instead of having a ton of cutscenes, it's like, no, let's go and have the characters rock really, really slow and talk about what's going on. And I think anybody who did co-op in that game remembers one specific line. Look at all that juice. I'm just going to leave it at that right there. Burned into my mind forever. With all that complaining said, though, super, super fun experience. One thing, before I get into the main reason I want to talk about Gears of War, while I'm on the campaign, one particular fun moment I had in the campaign, well, not moment, just like entire playthrough of the campaign, I believe it was with Matt. We were on the very first level of the very first chapter, whatever, however they call their levels in there. And I love using the chainsaw, and I would just kind of run off on people trying to use the chainsaw in situations where you shouldn't really try to be doing the chainsaw. And you know what? I got away with it. I cleared out the whole entire area. And so Matt, he's just like, you know what? I'm getting on this too. And kind of like when we played Rock Band Epic from Faith No More, it's like, let's just do stupid things that we know aren't going to turn out well just for the lulz. We were just for the lulz, like, let's go and try to beat the entire campaign with doing nothing but chainsaw kills. You know what? That was viable. That actually was a thing you could do. Oh, and we did it. All of the Gears of War 1 campaign. Chainsaw only run.
On the hardest difficulty.
On the hardest difficulty. Yes,
outside of the vehicle sections, right?
Yeah, like
anything on foot.
Mandatory.
We would get our Lancers and toss them out of the cars, with the chainsaws on, try to keep with the spirit of chainsaw only. But anything that was possible to pass by doing chainsaw only, we did chainsaw only. And you may say to yourself, like, that sounds really boring. Well, I say you're stupid idiots. Chainsawing dudes never gets old. It will continue and forever be the most badass thing ever. But that's enough of Gears of War campaign. What I really want to talk about is Horde mode. I don't think it was the first to come up with the idea of Horde, but it was definitely the first franchise to really popularize the idea of Horde. And what was really amazing to me, is up until that point, online play was either P versus P, let's all try to kill each other, and maybe there was co-op in the way that we've been talking about so far. It's we're playing the same level, we're swapping in and out, we're kind of on the same screen. Horde was the first thing where you actually hey, we're playing together, but we're actually going a wave by wave, or sticking this one
PvE.
area. Yes, that was kind of in my opinion, I'm sure there's going to be this person who's like, oh, there was this PC game that did it way better, blah, blah, blah. For me, I will always think of that type of genre, PvE, that Gears of War was the one that really put that on the map. And to be honest, even playing Gears of War 5, me and Mike, we've played Gears of War 5 co-op, somewhat frequently in the past few months, and it still kicks ass. It was the first to really do it well, in my opinion, and it's still the one who's probably doing it better than most to this
Even
day.
idiots like us, where when we first started it, we were like, man, there's too much here. We're overwhelmed. We don't like this. And then no later than 10 minutes later, we're like, yeah, this is great. This is even better than before. It's wonderful.
Yes. And I think a really cool thing that Horde does is it really does make you, I don't want to sound cliche, but it makes you feel like your brothers in arms. It's like your buddies gets knocked down, you're not just gonna be like, oh, sucks for you, you're just gonna die on the other side of the map. No, you go and like, no man left behind. You're running through all those locusts. You're dodging the explosions. You're like, I'm not gonna let my bro get killed. You got like, you cheer each other on. It's like you can do it if everybody else is dead. You can go and see the remaining person who's still alive and what they're doing, and you're cheering that guy on. It was truly a team effort. It really made some bonds. Like, I think I mentioned it before in a previous episode. One of my most treasured gaming memories was playing Horde with my roommate at the time and Mike. We was way past our bedtimes. I think it was like 2 a.m. or something like that when we finally got to wave 50. It would be wave 1 through 50, and the way it works is every 10 waves, on the 10th wave, you would fight a boss. And then starting on the next wave after that boss, they would add like a new modifier. So like increased enemy health, increased enemy damage. So by the time you get to level 50, you have like 4 or 5 different modifiers in effect. Plus you would have to fight a beefcake boss. And the most beefcake of the bosses, because it was random bosses that would generate on the boss wave. The hardest boss that could be spawned was what was spawned on wave 50. We were demoralized, but we were like, no, we gotta do this.
We're gonna do this.
If you die, that's it. Like, you don't get to go redo it. You have to start again from, I want to say, like, the last wave right after a boss wave. So we would have to start at like 41, or I want to say. Both Mike and Isaiah died. I was the last one alive. And I just spent the entire time cheesing it across the map, trying not to go and get killed by this Lambit Berserker. I believe that was what the boss was. I barely killed that boss by the skin of my teeth. I was almost dead. The screaming that I did in that apartment probably woke up everybody in the area. And I don't care. They can go and suck it. It was a glorious moment. We were all...
Isaiah and I the whole time were like trying to, because you could watch, and we're trying to like help Scott as he's like running from corner to corner to corner. Like he'd run to a corner, be like, and then like run to another and be like just kept cheesing it. We're like, Scott, you're left, watch out. And you'd be like, oh, okay. You'd run around. And when you did, we were like, when we realized how much health was left, both Isaiah and I got quiet. We were like, he could do it. He could do it. And then you did it, and all of us were like, yeah, we did it. Oh, it was all Scott. It was, oh, dude, that was so late. That was so late.
It was so late. Great experience, though, and I will always love PvE. I'm actually very, I think it's kind of been completely forgotten about it. I assume it's still being worked on. I'm excited to see whatever Overwatch comes out with. I know technically they've done seasonal PvE stuff. I hear supposedly eventually they're going to actually have like a full-on PvE campaign or something that they're adding to it. At least this is something I heard before Overwatch 2 came out.
We'll see if that's going to actually be a reality now.
Yes, Matt.
They did say that, though. They did say that, and then they said, we're going to put that on hold for a bit while we do this.
We'll see how that turns out. Will it be better than Gears of War? Probably not. Should be still fun, though. But that's a great thing. Still got Gears of War 5. If you got Game Pass, hell, you can go back to Gears of War 3 or Gears of War 2, which I think it debuted in 2 and not 1. But always going to love Horde. Great experience. Super fun. 2 big thumbs up.
Fun times. Just good memories with that. Yeah, specifically the third game. Gears 3, all of us at any given month. Looking back, man, we played together a lot. Like, to be kids and have all the time in the world. Man, we played Gears of War 3 Horde mode and the other things a lot. Good memories.
It's a good pick. I like it.
All right, well, for mine, so another thing I've just noticed. So not only did we group our Sasquatch sighting. Not only did our first round all be couch co-op, and we just so happened to do it that way, and not only was our second round all online co-op, they were all 360 games. They were all specifically 360 games. So, Explosion Man, exclusive to 360. Gears, exclusive to 360. And mine is a much maligned game in the franchise. I think undeservedly so, and we've talked about this before in a previous episode of the podcast, and that would be Resident Evil 5. And I played, I don't know if I ever played too much with you, Matt, with that game, but I very vividly remember I wasn't going to get it, and then I think it was Scott convinced me. He's like, I'm getting it. You should get it. Let's play together. And I went, okay. And I remember suddenly taking the day off from work. I don't remember who my employer was at the time, so if you're somehow watching this, I definitely was sick that day. But I just randomly called off, drove down to a Toys R Us near us. Yes, I said a Toys R Us. Picked up the game, went back and got it all ready, and Scott and I played Resident Evil 5 all freaking day long. All day long. The only times we didn't were when we had to go make food to eat or when we had to go to the bathroom. That was it. And we played, and we played, and we played. I think literally like the first playthrough, one of us played as Chris and the other one played as Sheva. And then we were like, cool, let's play it again. Now let's switch roles. So like then the other person would play as Sheva and then the lead would be Chris. We played that game so much. And then there was the mercenaries aspect of it, right? Which was actually originally introduced in Resident Evil 4. But Resident Evil 5 was much more action oriented. And that's why it's much maligned in the Resident Evil franchise. Which, I mean, I get that reasoning. I still love the game from purely this, just playing with Scott. But that was I remember kind of getting a taste of that with Gears of War, right? The first Gears of War campaign. And I played a lot with Isaiah. We've mentioned him before. Played that a lot. But this game, there was something different about it, man. And playing through with somebody else, I remember trying to play that game solo after we played Scott. And I was like, nah, I'm done.
It's not good.
I'm done. I'm done. And there was something special about, like, I think the other thing too was that there's a common theme here as well. We would kind of troll each other too. So like you'd pick like so the ammo was limited. So like if there was ammo on the ground, whoever picked it up, they had it. Like there wasn't like some for both, okay? And I very vividly remember many times I'd be going to pick up like some shotgun shells or something, and Scott would just swoop out of nowhere and be like, "Oh, mine." Like, you don't even have a shotgun right now. I might, and
hey, I don't know.
and,
I limit my options.
And it was like it was funny. Like it didn't bother me for whatever reason, and I would pull shit like that with him. It wouldn't bother him either. It was just kind of fun, and it was just so over the top. And there was something about like it got to that point of like we knew exactly where everything was, what was going to trigger, who was around the corner, how the method, the strats and everything. And if I remember correctly, I think we both got all achievements on that game together. Like I think the last one was something co-op related, and we did it, and we both got that same achievement, and that was the end of it. And like we 100%ed that game, and we loved it. And it was stupid. It was over the top. Chris Redfield punches a rock. There's stupid quick time events. There's all sorts of stuff in that. And it's just great. It's just a great co-op game. And it's because that's why it's on another reason it was maligned is they leaned so heavy into it being a co-op, so much so that like when you're playing solo, the co-op partner is still there. It's just an AI. Which, like I said, I think I said this before, I think in the remastered versions or the updated versions, I think they kind of fixed that maybe, because it didn't seem as bad as when we first played on the 3. It was bad when you played 360. Like, just straight up, like, she would just take stuff and you'd be like, no. And then she would use it and you'd be like, no, I didn't tell you to do that. And then she would shoot things. Oh, it was frustrating. But playing with somebody else, tops. Like, that was one of my most fun campaign co-op games I can ever think of. Like, ever. Outside of Gears. Like, basically Gears and Resident Evil 5. And no other Resident Evil game did that I know of. They're like a mainline Resident Evil game. So, very fun times. Stupid fun. A bad game that's great when co-op. When playing with somebody else.
I do have a little confession. I don't think I ever told this to Mike. So that day he's referring to when we just played it all day long. So back then, Mike, if he played a game during the day, it was usually in a very short block. He would maybe like play like an hour session with you here and there. For the most part, he would only play at night. So yeah, randomly we are playing this game in the daytime, and I'm thinking to myself, and like, yeah, we'll play an hour or two, and then Mike's gonna move on. And it was kind of a little bit of a game of I don't want to say chicken, but it's like, all right, about 2 hours in, Mike's gonna go wrap it up. Okay, let's do another level. I'm like, well, I can't be the one to go back out. If Mike wants to do another level, that's okay. Let's do one more level, and then rinse and repeat for the entire campaign. And there was moments where I was just legitimately, I'm like, is Mike really gonna play the entire campaign today? I can't back out. Like, not saying I didn't enjoy it. It was very fun, but I was in a state of disbelief of like, I can't let Mike beat me. He's the one who's like always doing the short bursts. And if I'm the one who's the one that bails on the session, then like I can't do that. I can't be the one. I'm just gonna keep going. So
you couldn't give me a hard time moving forward ever again.
I couldn't. So a lot of that, like, granted, I was a loser. I had no job and I never studied for school. So it's like, yeah, okay, I could just play a game all day long. But it was definitely not my intention starting off that day. Like, you know what? I'm gonna play Resident Evil all day long with Mike. It was definitely a very spontaneous, like, spur of the moment thing. But yeah, that was a very fun day. I will always look fondly
I must
on
not
that.
have told you that I just like last minute called off of work and literally went and got the game that morning to play with you. Like they had like 2 copies left at Toys R Us and I went, cool, got one. Came back and we played all day. I didn't realize that. Yeah, got him. Got him, didn't even know it.
There you go.
That's great. I love the game of chicken. That makes it even better for me.
Especially because I didn't even know.
Now you do.
Look
at that.
I was winning at chicken without even knowing.
You did.
I did play co-op on that one a bit. I think only really with Scott, and it was after you had cleared it out with, maybe it was Chris. But I know at one point I played with you, Scott, after you had beaten it with Mike, and you were basically just helping me roll through to get all like the co-op achievements and stuff. I really enjoyed it. I know for me, the Mercenaries mode, I definitely played that with you. Whatever the max score, you can get like 3 stars, 5 stars per level, whatever the heck it was. I know we did that once and I put it down. I was like, never gonna do that again. But that was fun. That's a good one. I enjoyed Resident Evil 5 a lot.
And then I realized, Scott, we also played through all the DLC when that dropped too, which was the more well, like the DLC that we could play together. Because if I remember correctly, some of it was single player, and that was the more horror, like the old school Resident Evil, which was actually kind of a cool DLC, where it was like the horror aspect, and it was very single player, like you didn't have somebody else. That was fun. Good times. That was my co-op. So all 360 games. That's so weird that we did it that way.
That was our. We say it a bunch as a joke, but it is reality. That's when we had the time to game, and that's honestly when we had less things to worry about. Like we weren't too focused on career at that point. We were just we were working or not, whatever. We were just vibing. We were all very, very early. I don't think you had met I don't know if you met your wife at the time around then, but like I think I was just dating Katie.
Not yet. Well, no. It was like right on the verge. It was like right around that time. Yeah.
Yeah. So like all these gaming memories we have is essentially I view it before I became like an adult. Like I was still living at home with my parents. I didn't move out until I got married. So that was the time that we had. It makes me sad to think about like that's when we had probably like the fewest cares as that we would ever have, and now there's just more and more stuff that's just like, oh man, I can't play this game, I can't enjoy this game because I have to think about XYZ. So I think it's less reflection on the 360 being great and more on just where we were at, but also the 360 was being great. That is one of my all-time favorite consoles. Like from a multiplayer standpoint, 360 all the way. From an individual standpoint, I still think the PS4 is my favorite of all time. And I'm sure we can do a podcast about gaming systems later, but
that'd be a good topic.
That's a testament to the 360. That was really, really fun. And I like that most of our games, one of us was playing with someone in this podcast, which is awesome. I know Mike's a little bit on the outside from Scott and I, but that's just due to age. And, Scott and I
came way later. I showed up way later.
And it's just a matter of happenstance. But I'm glad that like you and Scott at the very least had like the Gears and the Resident Evil. And we've had like moments like that. Like we beat Wonderlands, but even though we beat Wonderlands, it wasn't going to be like, I beat Gears of War, I beat Explosion Man. It was just like, oh, cool, beat the game. I'm adult. I'm going to go to bed because I have to do taxes tomorrow. Like
I think the closest, and I hate to say this, I think the closest that we've had to those moments again of just kind of like having fun and being silly and stupid Which once we kind of put this podcast on a little break, right? Like after the season's done or whatever, and we're back to gaming on Wednesdays or whatever, we'll get back to that kind of stuff. But I think the closest that we've had is Overwatch 2.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite recent memories was, we got Scott to play with us, and I had gotten on, like, I'll finally play. So Scott's playing, I think Scott was playing on his Xbox. No, he's playing on the PlayStation that night. Matt was playing on the PlayStation, and I was like, my computer's booted up already. I'm going to play on my computer. And so it put us in the sweaty pool. And that Scott told, that it's so funny because every match that we won was the mode that I hate the absolute most, and that was the push maps. We won every single one of those, but there were only 3 of those that entire time. But it was so funny to me. It was so fun. And by the end of it, Scott was like, "Don't ever play that game on your computer again, Mike." And I went, "Okay, I'll just play on my PlayStation."
Yeah. That was great. Tell you what, I think I lied. I think we can get those memories again, and I can tell you the exact date that we're going to have those memories. You guys ready for this? June 9th, Scott's birthday, when he has agreed to play Fortnite with us on stream because we got over 100 subscribers on the channel. That right there is the next Buttless Buds Bustin' Balls event is going to happen on June 9th because we got over 100 subscribers on the channel. There you go. That's going to be our next great co-op moment.
And by the time this airs, I think it's like a week or 2 weeks away. What's Scott doing? What are you sharing?
I'm a man of my word. It's ready to go.
He's going to play this PC.
I'm a man of my word. There it is.
We see it.
For anybody who doubts.
I don't see it. I just saw watch. Oh, I said go back to it. I actually have to click watch stream.
Dang it.
Do it again. Do it again. I didn't realize that I was like waiting. I was like, I want to watch the stream. I didn't realize I had to push a button.
This is not entertaining at all, but I will go to my desktop a second time because Mike wants to see it. All right. Are you ready for it, Mike? There. Proof.
Yeah. Doki Doki.
It's ready. And there's Doki Doki.
Yeah.
Forever, my PC, my Master Race career started with Doki Doki and then Fortnite. Those were forever
that is vastly different.
First two games played on PC. Right there.
All right. Cool.
Wonderful.
All right. Well, that being said, so wonderful games, co-op games. If you're watching, if you're listening, what are some co-op games that you love? And maybe they're great games too, right? They do exist. It just so happens that the ones that we chose tonight were maybe not necessarily. A couple of them were actually great, but most of them were not great. They're just great co-op games. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what others are, especially from different generations, right? Like we're old fart generation when it comes to gaming, right? So, all right, well, cool. That's going to do it. Scott, I always have to ask just to make sure you got a rant for us tonight.
Do I have a rant? Tonight, you know what I'm doing?
Oh, he's pulling off the gloves. Oh,
the gloves are coming off tonight.
Well, we got to do it. So here's the Scott Porty Potta theme, and go.
Over there, he just doesn't care. He's going off on a crowd of people, throwing words in the air like he just don't care. He's yelling at all of us sheeple. It's a Scotty Porta Potty rant. It's a Scotty Porta Potty rant. It's a Scotty Porta Potty rant. It's rant time.
Tonight, I'm going for it. I don't care how many people out there I offend, because you know what? I'm going to speak truth to power. And this time, I'm going after you, coffee drinkers. That's right. Yep. I can see it. You guys are giving me that look. Everybody's giving me that look. But you know what? You guys are weak. As long as we do our fight at 6 a.m. in the morning, I'm going to win, because you guys are weak. You're pathetic. You can't even get out of bed without your coffee. You know what that is? Coffee, a.k.a. dirt water. You have like, oh, here's my Colombian dirt water. Oh, here's my special Starbucks dirt water. It's all dirt water. And I think deep down inside, you know. You go tell me like, oh, well, it's good if it's 75% cream, or if I go and put in all this sugar or this pumpkin spice. You know what? Kombucha, I don't have to toss in extra shit in my kombucha for it to be good. It's just good. Coffee, no. Mm-mm. You know what happens when you drink coffee for 7 days? That makes 1 week. Haha, see, a little wordplay right there for you. But you should all be ashamed of yourselves being so dependent on a stupid bean. You know what, me? I don't have coffee. I'm doing good. I'm all right. I wake up at 5:30 every morning. I don't need your weakling juice. You can take that and you can shove it. And you can quote me on that. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. God bless the United States of America.
All right. Well, when this episode airs, I'm gonna come at you like Matt came at you with the imitation baby meat.
All right.
Oh, you're gonna get you're gonna.
Listen, I need everyone that feels strongly about coffee, either for or against, to chime in on this YouTube channel. That's the easiest place to drop those comments. You let Scott know about how.
How do you feel? How do you feel about this?
I'm not afraid. You're all weak. You're all weak. I can take you.
And I actually agree with Scott on most of this. I actually only enjoy coffee. I actually drink decaf, and even that, it's because it makes me poop. It helps me poop.
I was gonna say I like it because it helps me poop. And I like the taste, and I don't stuff it with sugar or creamer or any of that stuff.
You're a monster.
But even before
you're a
then,
sick monster.
I wake up. I got kids. So I'm up early, regardless of coffee, not because of coffee.
To Matt's point, though, and I will go and save us from having to bump up the age rating of this podcast to M for mature. As far as the pooping angle goes, I did have coffee one time. Only like 1/4 a cup of like iced coffee, double shot of espresso. And it works quick. I'm talking 15 minutes quick.
Especially hot. Especially when it's hot.
Scientifically, I don't even think what I produced was considered like poop. Like, I don't think so. Like, I'm just not going to get into details, but I'm just saying. There had a bit. You have to at least be.
Was it like baby poop? It came out like tar-like.
So I need to stop this because my wife was watching our most recent podcast that aired, and she made a comment like, "Matt, can you do a podcast where you don't talk about poop?" And I'm like, "Oh man, I don't know if we can." We almost made it, guys.
Literally the end.
All I'm gonna say is, have you guys ever watched Willy Wonka? Do you remember the part when they're at the like chocolate like?
I'm going to turn off my camera for this one. There we go.
And that's how we'll end tonight. Thank you very much.
Well, if you're still here, I am sorry. Sound off. Whoa. What did you do?
Scott's comment just moved me. Everyone, hello. I'm sorry about my camera.
It just
anyway,
broke.
Let's wrap this up.
Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We do appreciate you, except for Scott and coffee drinkers, apparently. And we hope you stick around for the next episode. And yeah, we appreciate you. Until next time. Bye.